example of just a really simplistic, great website. And they have great animations as you go through, different elements that kind of pop in from the side and appear out of nowhere and fall down and animate. And those are all things that you want to be thinking of when you're putting these designs together. It's really hard to convey this information to a client, but you want to do your best to show examples of you know what, we can do some really fun things. And when you're showing them the graphic side of it, you want to be thinking about those next steps of how something might animate. So just like good graphic design is crap, good UI design is also crap. You're just applying the same principles as graphic design, but you're bringing over a new layer and you're thinking about how things are going to work within the design space of code and different things. And I can't code, like I can't, but I can design and I know how things interact that a coder would then be able to use, and I can talk to them about this is how I think the website's going to look, or this is how I think the app's going to look. And so then you can start working through those next levels. So a typical workflow for me usually starts with talking with the client. We kind of go through and figure out what design they like. Sometimes things look like they're from 2005. That's great. You generally want to try and steer them away from that because it's 2005, let's be real, by the time a new website goes up, it's going to be old instantly. And you don't want that on your portfolio. You don't want that because it limits their potential. And so trying to work through new and exciting things that fit within their budget, that fit within the way they like it. There's so many different examples of different website layouts or app layouts or whatever it may be. So we talk to the client, then we start wireframing and putting together these ideas to figure out, okay, we're going to start here, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go here, and that's, again, the user experience side of things. But then we put together a design based on their feedback, what they like, what they don't like, and we pitch that to the client, and then the client comes back to us and says, you know what, we really like that, we really hate that. And that can be a challenging side of design because sometimes you love something, and sometimes that doesn't get through, so you have to figure out how to change that and how to make that so that it really works for the design at hand. And then once the client's happy with the design, then you call it good, and that goes on to coding, and they're working through all those next steps. Software that I use, there's many different kinds, but Illustrator, Photoshop, and Sketch are just a few examples here. And just putting together just a static layout to show the client and see what it looks like. So this is a good fit if you like the tech side of things, if you like the way, if you like using apps, if you understand different contexts that would work within. It's taking graphic design and it's adding another dimension to it, which makes it really fun and exciting to me. So what does the user interface landscape in the future look like? Well, like I said earlier, it's turning into so many different things. Apple Watch or refrigerators or whatever it may be, user interface is turning into so many different things. And it's a really great time to be a user interface designer. All right, now off to Wendy.
Awesome. I don't know how to use this thing. Can you guys hear me?
No? Okay, how's that? So Ryan just talked about user interface design, and I want to talk about user experience design. Before I do that, how many students here are seniors? Juniors? Sophomores? Freshmen? Huh, a pretty equal amount, awesome. So user experience or user interface, user interaction designers, it's simply that. It's designing for the user's interaction with technology or any kind of interface. It's about the user, the interaction, and their interface. The user can be anyone. It can be mailman, it can be your client, it can be your puppy, right? Whether they like using their chew toy or not. The interface can be, yes, a piece of technology like a website, but it can also be your teapot. It can be your Bible. It can be, in this example, let's say I'm a grocery shopper. That's the user. I want to open, that's the interaction. A door, that's the interface. Something as simple as a person wants to open a door is something that a user experience designer can design. I want to make clear to them that when I come to this door, the first thing that I should do is to pull it. Or maybe I push it. Right? How do we tell the user how to use something by using design elements? So I wasn't the person that walked down the street and said, that sign is really ugly, I can make it prettier. I said, that sign is really confusing, I can make it so much easier for the user to understand. Right? So typically in the project lifecycle, I do the same thing that Ryan does. I go and understand what the project requirement is. I'm talking to business owners, I'm trying to understand the company. Why do you want to make a login page when you already have one? They might say, well, this login page is really hard to use and people keep calling the call center. Now, if they call the call center, then the company has to employ more people to manage the call center, and that's more money for the company, and of course the company doesn't want to spend the money. So they turn to better design, right? That's how important design is. We can actually impact that bottom line. So after they tell me, here's the problem, I go and talk to users, and I do the research. I say, hey, why are you having problems with the login page? Well, usually I'm nicer than that and say, hey, tell me all the bad things you think about this company. Or I might bring them into the company and say, let's use my product, and tell me out loud what you think. They might say, okay, I'm going to put my username. Oh, I actually don't know where my password is. That's kind of confusing. Oh, now I want to log in and click the button, but where's the button? I'm so confused, right? I might hear things like that from them and know exactly how to fix it. When I do, I go and create wireframes and flowcharts. This is my creative time. Instead of making very colorful mock-ups like Ryan would, I make wireframes. I'll tell you a bit more about that. After I make these wireframes, I have to present it to the executives. Just like Ryan does, I have to now sell my design as a solution to the problem they had. All right, you've got a login page that's really confusing. Well, here's this new design. What do you think of it? Now, usually, I would love to say that they just say thumbs up, go ahead. But usually what I get is, wait, why is the button on that side? And I'll prove to them with my user research, this is why, because the user expects it there. Or I might not be able to convince them, and they'll tell me, go do something else. So I'll go back to the drawing board, I'll do the user research again, and come up with a different idea. So I usually have 2-3 versions, and I think it's the same for Ryan too. We have a lot of iterations that we do. But when they do say, yes, go ahead, my job is to communicate to the rest of my team. When you're working in a big company, it just doesn't just depends on you to make this product a real thing. You have people like Ryan, the graphic designer, UI designers, would take my general layout of what the page would look like and make it look actually pretty. Or developers who make it actually possible to, when you click on this button, this happens. Right? After that is communicated to them, it takes a long time to develop and design a website. But my job's not done. Again, realistically, often what happens is, hey, Wendy, you've forgotten to design this, get to it. Or developers will tell me, I couldn't design this the way you wanted it to, can you come up with a new solution in 2 hours to come up with this? So it's pretty stressful, but it's exciting. So, like I said, I'm a person who cares about usability. I care about whether something is easy for someone to use. And when I'm doing interviews for someone, these are some of the qualities that I'm looking for. First, I want to see that they're interested in the business, that they're interested in the project. It's not just about, I've got a project now, let's make it easy and get this person to be, make it so that this is a product that the client wants. It's about understanding what is the true problem here. Is it really the login page is really bad, or no one knows how to get to the login page? I also want to see that you're interested in technology. Again, a lot of graphic designers, a lot of UX designers don't know how to code, but they understand technology. They play with the technology, they use technology, and they understand how to be a user. And because they do that, they can understand the user needs. I shared my story earlier a bit. I was actually going to be a neuroscience major before I changed my field. But through neuroscience, I had 3 years in that degree. I don't think it was a waste because I took a lot of psychology classes. I learned to think about the people who are experiencing different things and to understand If you have a big block of text, no one's gonna read it. But if you put 1, 2, 3 next to it, the user knows how to skim the page, right? So using those little tidbits, I can make a website easier for someone